Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and not long ago, in fact, in the last video, we looked at Bruticus Maximus from Transformers Energon. It only seemed right, since Maximal 10 was kind enough to loan me this guy, Superion Maximus, that maybe we'd look at him next. After all, he is kind of an opposition, kind of a foe to Bruticus Maximus, if you will. Is this kind of take on the aerial bots effective or not? Well, we're going to explore it all in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Now this is Superion Maximus. Naturally, as a G1 fan, when I think of Superion, I think of the aerial bots. And as such, one would expect that even Superion Maximus is probably a take on the aerial bots. I've said it before and I will say it again to reiterate for anybody that's new. I cannot stand Unicron Trilogy as a fiction. I think in terms of editing and storytelling, I think it fails in both of those, and I could probably forgive that if I felt like the characterizations that names were attached to were true to the characters. And I feel like that's something that really grates on me personally. So it's not my era, and it's not something I know particularly well. But if it's your era, and this is your version of Superion, then you know what? How about we see if the plastic that was offered then stands up? Because though I don't like the fiction, maybe these guys are pretty fantastic. I know they certainly look the part. How good are they? Well, we're going to explore that together when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this set. So if you've been around the channel recently, you know that we looked at the Transformers Energon Bruticus Maximus. And, you know, I said then, like, it's not my Bruticus, right? And I don't like the haphazard, like, just random reuse of names. But if it was your Bruticus, he's actually pretty good. Well, we move on now to Bruticus's, I'll say, main adversary, which is Superion Maximus. Again, this isn't the aerial bots that most of us know. This isn't the Superion that most of us know. Again, that would really go to G1, although, that being said, there are some aerial bots and stuff in the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron series. Don't think they combined into a version of Superion. The colors here look pretty good. The combined mode, when we get there, I think is pretty good, but we're going to try and attack this much like we did the last time we looked at one of these like Energon combiners. And okay, so this big bot here, the main torso is Stormjet rather than Scattershot. Then we have this guy over here is Pterrodive. And again, not the Pterrodive that I know. The live action movie is the Pterrodive I know. We do have the other one. This guy. Like same old as this one. He's already in leg mode because this configuration for leg mode is the exact same for arm mode. Well, not quite the exact same for arm mode, but close enough. We'll talk about it when we get there. This guy's name is Sky Shadow, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with this guy being Sky Shadow, I guess, even though I tend to think of Sky Shadow or Black Shadow as a Decepticon, but like the colors here at least look like Sky Shadow. Then we have this guy here who's Treadshot. Okay. Again, it's not the Treadshot I know, but whatever. And Windrazor. Windrazor I think of as a version of the Transformers Prime version of Cutthroat, if I'm not mistaken. I think. And Windrazor is this one, which is already in arm leg mode as well. So I suppose I should move these around. In essence, this guy and this guy are the same. In essence, this guy and this guy are the same. And again, much like with like Scramble City combiners that a lot of like fans know of, these guys can be arms or legs. The only thing that's kind of really set in place is the torso. And in fact, the torso is where we're going to begin first. And so here we have Stormjet again. I don't really have instructions for this. I assume, yeah, I was going to say, I assume that there's some sort of a landing gear down here. Yeah, there you go, right? This, to me, looks a lot like a Concorde. This, to me, looks a lot like a Cybertronian-ified homage to, I think I said Scattershot, but that was wrong of me. Silverbolt. Yeah. Yeah, I see the homage for sure. I guess we'll go to... I guess we'll go to robot mode and then we'll go to torso mode. So, first things first, we have legs here. We're going to extend that out and extend that out. We're going to flip down the toe and heel, flip down the toe and heel, turn that leg around, do the same toe and heel, and turn that leg around. And I suppose, not for nothing, you can always do like a Gerwalk type of mode now, you know, in essence, right? We're going to fold up the landing gear under the nose cone for now. And I'm going to adjust the camera so we have a little bit more room to work. Okay, so, okay, so we take those arms thusly like that. We'll bring these legs down, I suppose. We're going to snap this around. It'll end up coming down and tabbing in a little bit later. We're going to take this out and up. We're going to take this out and up. Now my understanding is, oh, that needs to turn around. Make sure that we're doing all of this correctly. Yes, and then after we turn it around, this flips up. So the whole nose cone was like this. We took these things off the side, right? Actually, it was more like this. And we take it and we turn it around and we bring the whole thing kind of up and over like that, I believe. Yes, up and over like that. And we bring out this and this on the side, and we bring the head down and turn it around. Now, before we do that, I'm going to bring these in here first. And I'm going to bring the legs down. Wrong. Sorry. My mistake here, guys. Again, I'm trying to kind of do this as we go here, right? That needs to come down. This needed to turn around up here. There we go. And then this comes forward and these come down. Yeah, that's what it was. Holy smokes. I apologize, guys, for all that. This comes up and in. This comes up and in to fill in the sides. Thusly. That arm comes down and around, so that we have an elbow. This arm comes down and around so that we have an elbow. And then all of this comes up and over, and now we have a little peg up here that goes into a peg hole way down here. This comes down, and this should notch all the way down now. That notches down, that notches down, these arms come in. Whew. And boom, in the end, here we have him in his robot mode. I have to adjust a few things, so give me just a couple of moments and then we will do his articulation. Don't lose your mind, don't lose your mind. I did make a slight mistake here. I'm going to rectify it now. I accidentally left this up. We're supposed to use this hole here to tab the nose cone into and straighten up the legs thusly. Now now he is in his robot mode. I find this transformation to be a bit cumbersome. I'm not gonna lie, I find it challenging. I'm not used to it, but there's a lot of moving parts for something that's about a deluxe size. And in the end, I think we get an okay robot. I do wish that this tabbed in more securely than what it does. I don't find it to be nearly as solid as I would like for it to be as a connection. I think the transformation's about a 7.5. Honestly, it's not my favorite. The resulting robot is okay, but I do think some of the proportions are a little weird on it, if I'm being perfectly honest. The head goes left and right. The arm can't go all the way around because of all this kibble, but you're going to get what you... I guess it can go all the way around if you get the arm out of the way. Arms can go all the way out. Elbow over 90 degrees, actually a really deep elbow because of the double elbow hinge. Wrist swivel, essentially, or forearm swivel, but it's good enough. I'm going to give it to him. No waist because of how things like lock in here. Leg all the way forward. Leg all the way back. Thigh swivel. Knee to 90 degrees. And I guess you could say toe and heel up and down. No side to side. Although I suppose he can do that if you want him to for some weird reason. But he feels pretty solid in robot mode. While I do find the transformation a little bit of a bear, and I scored that at a 7.5, I'm going to say for the look of the guy, I'm going to say a 9 again, just by default, in case there are some imperfections that I just don't know for the character. And I'm going to say that the articulation, honestly, is about a 9. I think it's really good, maybe even 9.5. Overall, a little bit of getting used to with the transformation, but overall, I really dig this, and I think it looks really cool. I'm going to say that he's a 9 on the whole. Now we need to kind of try and do the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the alt mode, the torso mode. I can't guarantee that I'm going to do this very well, but we will try. We will try and see. So we're going to close both of these up. And yes, I am a bit nervous about doing this because I'm not confident that I'm going to get this right. I'm really, really not confident I'm going to get this right. We collapse this up and we collapse this up, all the way up over the hip, and this one not quite up enough. It needs to go all the way up over the hip because we have to have these down here free to be able to take the combined mode leg, right? So we should have all of that done. I think, I hope. I might need to adjust these a little bit on the sliders in here. I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, next we're going to take the robot mode head here, and turn it around. And take these sections up on the side, and all of this is going to flip up over the back. Then we're going to open this out, and we're going to flip up the combine mode head and turn it around and close this up. Now, before we can solidify this in, we have to deal with the robot mode arms here. And this is where things get a little weird for me, and I'm not 100% sure what it is I have to do. So, you're going to give me a second till I figure out one side of this, and then we're going to do it via the other side. I knew it couldn't be that complicated. After all, there are some locking points here. So, we fold the shoulder in, and the arm folds up. By the way, these go flat, and these go in between, the best I can tell. And we bring this down. Now, when we do all of this, we do have, I have to turn this. I have to turn this because we need the connector on the outside. The blue hand goes over a port here, and there's another little rectangular tab. It too goes locked in, and it locks this part of the arm to the shoulder bicep part of the arm. So let me make sure I got all of that locked in. Let me make sure I got that over the hand there. There, we got all that. Now we can bring this all the way up over, and it too locks in right there. Now that we've got the torso done, actually I think the torso is pretty good. I think it's fairly elegant, and I think it's Not a bad transformation once you figure out what to do with the arms. I'm going to say that the transformation to this mode is about a 9. I think it's great. And right now, because we have 2 legs, we can look at him like this. And yes, we see he's getting a little bit of heft to him. Not for nothing, but I found that putting the legs, the Bruticus Maximus, quite a bit easier because there was a little flap that covered the inside of the leg. This one has a slider, and the slider needs to be all the way up. However, when you're trying to attach to the legs, it's very easy to kind of push the slider down. So I wish that that had a little bit more of a locking point. Maybe it did. This is quite old now, almost, what, 20 years old or so? So maybe it was a tolerance a little tighter when it was brand new. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But we're going to look at the other 2 that will become the arms. Remember, they pretty much transform just like the legs. And so now we come to Pterodive, who to me looks an awful lot like Power Glide, but whatever. We can remove this. Again, translucent. This opens out. I guess you can leave it like this and it becomes his blaster. Or you can leave it like this and it's a hand. Or you can open it out straight. Since he's going to end up being an arm, we're just going to leave it as a hand. And there is a hole in here. Oh, by the way, the peg that was used to go in there is this peg here, and it's translucent and it folds. So again, everybody who complains about it, it's not new. But this will, in essence, end up being a hand in just a little bit. So we're going to lay that aside for now. Final complaint, a little turrety thing down here. I have no idea how to do this transformation, so this is going to be an adventure and a half to kind of see what's what. But we'll figure it out. We will figure it out together. I'm hopeful. I'm not saying I'm sure. I'm saying I'm hopeful. These will come off the side. They flip up on the side. And I'm going to say, yeah, this whole section here comes out. I'm guessing all of this comes up. And I just lost this. But that's the head. Turn this arm around and turn this arm around. Turn at the waist. Split the legs. Bring up a foot. Bring up a foot. I assume I can turn at the knee. Yeah, I can turn that at the knee and turn that at the knee. And boom, in essence, here we have him in his robot mode. I'm going to clean a few things up and then we'll take a closer look at him. Not for nothing, I did pretty good. I mean, I forgot to turn around his waist, which means I had to adjust his legs. But other than that, honestly, I'm pretty sure that I got the guy about as right as, you know, he's going to be. Legs can go forward, back, very tight, by the way. Legs go out to the side, heel, toe, forward and back, but no ankle tilt. We do get knee to 90 degrees for sure. Swivel at the knee. We have a waist, of course, because that's the part I forgot to turn. Arms go all the way out to the side, elbow to 90 degrees. Nothing at the wrist. The head, I guess it can go left and right, but I find that all that really happens is I knock these things off of his head. And they're a nuisance to put on. I'll do that after. But, you know, and he also, not for nothing, like he also, though he didn't do it right there, he also stands like a champion. I'm going to say, honestly, that for the transformation, well, for the look again, I'm going to default to a 9. The transformation I think is pretty great. I'm going to give that a 9, honestly. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to give that a 9. The articulation, I'm going to say, is about an 8. I would think it would be a lot more hindered with these wings, but you can even get those out of the way if you want to go all the way around. Like, he's not bad. And his feet are chunky, so yeah, I think I like this guy. Let's do the conversion now to get him to his, like, I'll say his leggish mode, so to speak. We're going to put those up, and we're going to turn these and put these together for now. And we're going to turn that to the side. We're going to take this and flip the whole thing down, and these are going to come back in on the side. You know, for here. I gotta put that piece back on in a moment, and I do have to kind of take a second to figure out the arms again. but we're mostly back in plane mode. I just have to fix these arms. Give me a moment. And not for nothing, but to do the arm, all you're doing is lining this up, turning the arm around, and then using that black peg in there, it goes into a black port right there on the side, like that. Now, to do the foot mode, you would fold these forward, and here's your combiner peg, and you would basically split the legs, and what you would have is a foot out, and this foot out, and one foot goes into the other, and it pegs on thusly. However, to do the other mode that we're doing, the arm mode, you leave it like this, and then using this peg, there is a port in here, and you're going to, maybe I gotta do it this way? Yeah. Slide it like that, and then you can attach it. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. So, I'm just going to attach it, and we can see Superion Maximus looking like this. And boom, that's kind of where we're to so far, but we do have one more bot to go, and that's going to be the other arm, which again is going to look like this one over here, except it's going to be on the arm. For the record, by the way, I find that this guy and presumably this guy attach better as legs, and I find this guy and presumably the other guy attach better as arms, but just so you can see them in all configurations, I attach them this way. So let's go finally to the one they call Tread Shot, and cool looking plane. Again, these can come off, and while I didn't know honestly where to put it, one of these goes into like this thing, and the other one goes in over here, and like we will use this later as a hand piece. As a matter of fact, unlike the foot, these go down to become like the fingers, and both of the feet will end up kind of pegging in right here. So we're just going to lay this aside for now. It can also, of course, work as his blaster and whatever. Again, no idea how to do this transformation. Great looking little plane mode though. So this is going to be a bit of a, adventure and a half, so to speak. We're going to begin by taking this, and I presume these are going to be legs that we can bring down and straighten up and straighten up. And rotate and rotate. That looks pretty good, I think. Then we're going to take the arms and we're going to open them out to the side, and we should, yes, be able to flip down the body there, no problem. Turn the arms around, and boom, here we have him in his robot mode. I love this transformation. Very simple, very straightforward, but also very elegant. There may be things that have to be done here on the back. I'm just not doing it because it doesn't need it. 10 for the transformation, love it. In terms of the look, I'm going to say 9 for argument's sake. In terms of the articulation, arms go around, they can go all the way out to the side, elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel, head goes left and right, legs all the way forward, they can go kind of back, legs all the way out to the side, thigh swivel, knee to a little over 90 degrees, and forward and back at the ankle, no ankle tilt, but he's solid on his feet, articulated well. You can get some pretty good dynamic poses. I'm going to say 8.5 for the articulation. Overall, I think this is probably the strongest mold in the set. This or the other guy, of course. I'm going to say that the overall score for this is about 9.25. I think it's really, really tremendous and really, really simple. Now, let's try and get to the combine mode. We bring this down, and we should be able to bring this down on this double hinge and hinge it up. The arms, the arms fold in, and we're going to use them in just a little bit, just leave them there for now. We split the hips. By the way, they still peg together really, really well. When I first saw them, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go, but they peg together really nicely. Both of these come down on the side, keep the feet straightened up, and I think, fold, if you had the landing gear out, fold that back in. Let me just make sure of what I'm doing here. Where's this piece? Take this piece and it will go on as a hand maybe I won't do that yet. And the arms should, yeah. I must, yeah, there we go. I turn them at the knee. There we go. That's what was doing it to me. And then I bring these arms down and I turn them so that they will peg on over. A peg right there. And take this one down and turn it so that it pegs on over a peg right there. Yes, yes, yes. Very nice. And I'm going to bring that combiner port down because this is going to be an arm. And now we got to put this piece on the bottom so that we can attach him, and he looks like this. And you can see him next to not only Bruticus Maximus, but also this is my custom combiner form of Death Source. That it's old, this is a hodgepodge, I get it. But you can see it next to something Combiner Wars-esque. Normally, at this point I would go through all of the articulation. I'm not going to though, in this case, because I actually find this far more fragile than this. This feels robust and solid. With this guy, as much as I like it, to take the arms and rotate them all the way around, I find they like to come unpegged from both of the locations in there. Plus, I find this wing gets in the way a little bit. But they are ratcheted, so if your tolerances are a bit better, cool. The legs, they can move out to the side, and we do get a knee to 90 degrees. But I do find that this one over here especially pops off of the combiner piece because nothing locks the thigh in place like it should be, at least nothing I can discern. And this whole piece here is connected by one tiny little peg, and it doesn't like to stay in. And I've thought to myself many times, what if that peg broke? Then there's literally nothing holding the torso together. So I'm going to say that the articulation for this guy's about a 7. You can do it, but you're probably going to have a lot of stuff kind of fiddle and fall off. As an overall set, I think that this guy is pretty good. He's like an 8.75, maybe even a 9. I think this guy is more like a 7, 7.5. He looks great, but I do find he's more fiddly and finicky than Bruticus Maximus. Part of that, to be fair, might have to do with the age of this being as old as it is. Even though I'm saying about a 7.5, that's with the caveat that even now, some 20 years later, it's amazing that he's this solid and able to hold up and stand up this well. Maybe these combiners are due for an update. Maybe they're due for an update. We've had G1 get a whole bunch of updates in Combiner Wars. Maybe it's time for these guys to get updates. But until then, they're both still pretty fantastic to have. It's just I think Bruticus Maximus edges out a little bit of a victory in overall quality. And here we are once again, and here they are. So, what can I say? I think it certainly looks the part for Superion. Like, I look at this, and if somebody said, oh, that's Superion, I think I'd be like, I can see it. I can see it. It's not my Superion, but I can see it. I think that having to use the hand-foot pieces as stabilizers, it was a bad call. Like, this one doesn't particularly like to stay as a hand, and if it falls out, then all of this kind of falls apart. Same down here for a foot. As long as this stays in, it's great, but without it, it's a little cattywampus. I do think that this mold and this mold are the superior molds. I think that they are great planes, and though there's a big backpack there, I think it's pretty darn effective. I like the torso bot, but it has its weaknesses, especially after looking at Bruticus Maximus. I wish that the thighs had some sort of a locking point. They're on a slider, but they don't really lock per se, which means the attachments for both of these legs is a little rough. I do find this mold attaches as a leg better than this mold. I find this mold, or this mold, same mold, works better as an arm than as a leg. That said, I also find that the torso, though there's a little peg that pushes it in, I find that this nose cone section easily likes to come undone, and because of that, it makes the torso a little less solid than it would be. That wouldn't be a huge issue, except it happens a lot because of these wing pieces. I find if I try to move the arm forward, rather than the wing kind of move in, it'll just untab from the torso. I wish that that was toleranced a bit better, and to be fair, because of how old this is, maybe when it was new, it was a little tighter. Maybe it's just loosened a bit now because of age, so I didn't really mark it down for that. Truth be told, for as old as what this is now, the fact that I can give this a shake test like this and everything stays on and nothing's falling apart and nothing's moving around and falling forward and falling back, other than that torso that I already mentioned, is a testament to how well this actually was engineered. It's not my Superion, and having all of these guys named some pretty strange names for the most part, I don't particularly like, but as bots, just as Transformers, they are quite enjoyable. I think that the plane that's closest to being like a power glide, that mold, I think is the best one, followed by this mold, or this other leg mold over here. That's the same mold. And finally, I think the torso is the weak one here. But those of us that are fans of Combiner Wars, we remember Motor Master, and we remember weak torso. So it's not a new thing. Overall, I like them, but I think Bruticus Maximus might be just a little better, at least in my experience. Let me know what you think about Superion Maximus. Let me know if you think Bruticus Maximus is better than this guy, or if you think this guy's better than Bruticus Maximus. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, please use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. You know, you can hit the join button. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button, man. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. You never know what sort of things might pop up now and then, new and old. And especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, man, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.